Glen Barrows International Pest Control provides a comprehensive approach for a pest-free environment for both residential and commercial clients. Our services include lawn spraying and fungus control services to ensure the safety of your family and pets, commercial pest and rodent control, pre-construction soil treatment, subterranean termite control, and tent fumigation. Call Glen Barrows International Pest Control at 465-2935 or 469-5294. Glen Barrows International Pest Control, setting new standards in pest control.
With news from across the Federation, spanning the region and covering the globe, this is the Kiss FM SKN News Now Morning Edition, your one true source for news. And now your presenter.
Good morning. Today is Wednesday, 8th February 2017. I'm Leslie Joseph. This is the SKN News Now Morning Edition, brought to you with the kind compliments of Glen Barrows Pest Control and Guest House. These are the top stories this hour. Nationally, NRP's Corey Tyson has described the job market school leavers will face this year as bleak. Regionally, the International Monetary Fund says the St. Lucia government must set a debt reduction target. Internationally, United States federal judges grilled attorneys late into the night over travel ban petitions. And in sport, Indian cricketer Mohit Alawat has scored a T20 triple hundred. Now for a look at the stories in detail. Former Deputy Premier of Nevis, Hensley Daniel, has come out once again as a strong advocate of federal youth upliftment. On Tuesday, Mr. Daniel stated that the youth need to be allowed the opportunity to develop necessary skills and acquire training in order to become productive citizens.
We believe that the country is short of the skills that are needed, and the young people have to be given the chance to develop those skills. I believe as a politician in a country with a history of slavery and colonialism, I believe that I have an obligation as a parliamentarian, as a minister of government. I believe I have an obligation to provide opportunities for skills training for the young people. And what that does, EK, it gives them an opportunity to look away from crime. It gives them an opportunity to raise their self-esteem. And most importantly, gives them an opportunity to earn their own money. So they don't have to spend time with robbing people and trying to break into people's homes. And I think one of the great failings of this government in Nevis, the present government, is its inability to do just this.
Daniel, a member of the Nevis Reformation and the island's former youth minister, also detailed ways in which the NRP, while in government, had ensured the youth had a strong voice regarding their governance.
We don't take the traditional view of saying that young men and women are the youth are the men and women of tomorrow, because every time tomorrow comes, they tell you of tomorrow. So you never get to be the chance. You never get the chance to be the actual men and women and to play a leading role in the country. I just want to remind the public that while the NRP was in government, 2010 to 2006 to 2012, that for the first time in the history of St. Kitts and Nevis, and also for the first time across the Caribbean, EK, we insisted and ensured and actually did put young people to serve on the boards of our statutory corporations and encourage the private sector to do likewise. And so that was a significant way of saying to young people, look, we're not just talking about you, but we are actually giving you a chance. And we said each board should have somebody under 25 years of age. You know, we had a problem just talking to people, talking down to young people. So we sought actively to engage them.
Bleak. This is how the Nevis Reformation Party's Corey Tyson is describing the job market school leavers must face. The St. George's constituency candidate made the observation as he lamented the unpromising job hunt that awaits droves of high school and college graduates this year.
I was sitting down and calling out, last week, and it dawned on me that in a few months we have an excess of 200 students being dumped on the streets. In combination, when you combine the amount of students that are graduating from Gingerland Secondary, Charlestown Secondary, and the sixth form college, we have in excess of 200 students.
Okay.
And we have no jobs for them.
Well, it's a new paradigm shift. Probably jobs would be created over on St. Kitts.
But that's not good enough.
I know that's not good enough, but if we are to look at what is going on in this present day, the shift is St. Kitts. How do we get back in doing things for Nevis?
One of the arguments vigorously posited by the Nevis Reformation Party against the Concerned Citizens Movement is that the CCM has taken Nevis backward by increasing the island's level of dependency on the federal government. Regionally, the International Monetary Fund, IMF, says the government of St. Lucia needs to set a debt reduction target and rapidly implement its reform agenda amid rising public debt. The IMF mission team visited St. Lucia from January 16th to the 27th, 2017, and made its concluding statement public on February 6th. The debt reduction warnings were tempered with some positive news, however. The team says that despite weak tourism activity, unemployment continued to fall in 2016 and the economy is expected to experience moderate growth in 2017.
Following its 2-week Castries mission, an IMF team has concluded that the short-term outlook for St. Lucia is mildly positive but presents some risks. A few items contribute to that mildly positive prognosis. They include falling unemployment in 2016, a program of economic reforms expected to be outlined in the forthcoming budget, and a credible medium-term fiscal consolidation plan. According to the report, moderate growth is expected in 2017 based on continued strong performance in construction and agriculture. Prime Minister and Minister for Finance Alan Chasney says his administration plans to build on this foundation.
There is risk in everything that you take, and I think that the IMF report was very clear in stating that as well. We're looking to reduce taxes in order to improve competitiveness and depending on the economy to grow. If in fact that we do that and we don't see the growth, it creates a wider gap, and that could potentially erode the base for St. Lucia.
Now, the risks and worries. The report states that weakness in tourism, transportation and manufacturing continues to dampen growth. It adds that the new administration is launching an ambitious program of economic reforms, but key policies are still being shaped. The mission calls for rapid implementation of the reform agenda in light of the high public debt, which currently exceeds 82% of gross domestic product. It also expressed concern about the reduction in the value-added tax rate, stating that it will weaken the fiscal position unless measures are taken to mitigate its impact. Opposition leader Philip J. Pierre says this echoes the former SLP administration's concerns about the VAT reduction.
And they're very concerned, and you may note that St. Vincent has actually increased their VAT to 16%.
What concerns did they have?
About the loss of revenue that comes from a reduction in VAT.
The IMF says St. Lucia needs the consolidation plan to reduce policy uncertainty and ensure the success of the proposed economic programs. It says this plan should also address the need to prepare for the inevitable recurrence of natural disasters. The team has recommended that funds derived from the Citizenship by Investment program should be used to reduce debt and limits placed on amounts used to finance high-priority expenditure.
The Pan American Health Organization, in collaboration with the World Health Organization, is continuing to help Guyana to reach its priority healthcare goals. Ayana George reports.
Minister of Public Health, Honorable Valdo Lawrence, on Monday signed Guyana's third country cooperation strategy with the visiting Pan American Health Organization, World Health Organization PAHO WHO Director, Dr. Carissa Etienne. The cooperation strategy outlines the agenda for the organization's cooperation with Guyana over the next 5 years. Here's Dr. Carissa Etienne with more.
Our strategic plan for PAHO 2014-2019, which guides the technical cooperation of the organization, a strategic plan that is based in the Sustainable Development Agenda and that has as its core equity, the fact that we want to leave no one behind, and that therefore prioritizes vulnerable populations and marginalized populations.
Through the implementation of this strategy, PAHO WHO will deliver practical cooperation with Guyana to address priorities in the health sector. Here's PAHO WHO Country Representative Dr. William Adukro with more of this information.
We came up with 5 strategic priorities. 1, strengthening health systems for universal health. And each one has three areas of focus, and I wouldn't bore you since you'll be having copies of the CCS. The second one is achieving health and well-being throughout the life course. The third one is promoting safe, resilient, healthy environment. The fourth one is reducing the burden of NCDs, and the fifth and final one is reducing the morbidity and mortality due to communicable diseases.
There have been important strides in the health sector over the years, with PAHO WHO's continued support and commitment on healthcare areas that need attention. Dr. Etienne explains.
The work of PAHO is felt and seen at country level. To the extent that we can contribute to your national health development process, to the extent that we can contribute to every man, woman, and child in Guyana living a healthier life and experiencing well-being, is the extent that our work is complete.
Over the next 5 years, the strategy proposes to provide a reasonable good chance through which Guyana can achieve universal goals set for the health sector.
I am also buoyed by our own Health Vision 2020, a national strategy, which also marks a pivotal moment in the health sector history as we seek to overcome effectively endemic health challenges and ensure that all Guyanese enjoy the good life in a healthy way.
Internationally, 3 federal judges grilled lawyers from the Justice Department and Washington State late into Tuesday night as they considered whether to lift the U.S.-wide block on President Donald Trump's travel ban.
3 federal judges of the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals grilling lawyers from the Justice Department and Washington State in a hearing by phone Tuesday night. Both sides fighting back skepticism from the court.
Either you have the evidence presented in the record or you don't.
The Justice Department attorney August Flingy arguing President Trump has the legal authority to impose a travel ban without court review, citing national security.
Are you arguing then that the president's decision in that regard is unreviewable?
Yes.
Judge William Canby pushing back on Flingy's logic.
Could the president simply say in the order, we're not going to let any Muslims in?
That's not what the order does here.
Could he do that?
That's not what the order does.
Would anybody be able to challenge that?
That's not what the order does here.
Flingy acknowledging his argument might not be working.
I'm not sure I'm convincing the courts.
Judge Richard Clifton questioning Washington State's claim shows a direct intent to discriminate against Muslims.
I have trouble understanding why we're supposed to infer religious animus when in fact the vast majority of Muslims would not be affected as residents of those nations.
Your Honor, the case law from this court and the Supreme Court is very clear that to prove religious discrimination, we do not need to prove that this order harms only Muslims or that it harms every Muslim. We just need to prove that it was motivated in part by a desire to harm Muslims.
Do I have to believe everything you allege and say, well, that must be right? That's not the standard.
President Trump continues defending his hastily implemented ban.
Some things are law, and I'm all in favor of that. And some things are common sense. This is common sense.
Well, the president's new Homeland Security Secretary told a House committee he regrets how the presidential order was rolled out.
I should have delayed it just a bit so that I could talk to members of Congress, particularly the leadership of committees like this, to prepare them for what was coming.
A fire in a Manila port shantytown has destroyed around 1,000 homes and left 15,000 homeless. Hetty Malam has more.
These people are some of the 15,000 residents of a shantytown in the Philippines who lost their homes in a huge fire. The blaze in Manila's port has destroyed around 1,000 homes in the Parola compound, where several families often share tiny houses running along narrow alleyways. 3 evacuation centres have been set up to offer temporary shelter, and food and water are being provided. But many of those who lost their homes were left to huddle at the side of the road with the few possessions they managed to salvage. This woman says that there was an explosion and then the fire started, but when firefighters arrived they did not enter the compound, and so the fire lasted until the early hours of the morning. She says it continued for around 6 hours. Fires are extremely common in Manila, which is one of the most populated cities in the world.
Now we take a look at sport. Indian cricketer Mohit Alawat hit an extraordinary 72-ball triple century in a local T20 match in Delhi. The 21-year-old hit 39 sixes, including 5 off the final over, as he posted around 300 and his team Mavi finished on 416 for 2. His total dwarfs the top-tier record of 175 scored by Chris Gayle in the 2013 Indian Premier League. And we close off today's news package with a notice from the St. Kitts Masters Association. The meeting, which was scheduled for Thursday, will now be held today at the Warner Park Cricket Stadium Players Pavilion at 5 p.m. All are invited, as the St. Kitts Masters Association has begun its preparations for the 2017 Leeward Islands Masters 20-over cricket tournament scheduled for 25th and 28th May in St. Thomas, U.S. Virgin Islands. And that item brings us to the end of the Kiss FM SKN News Now Morning Edition, brought to you with the kind compliments of Glen Barrow's Pest Control and Guest House. Join us again at 5:45 for our comprehensive evening news package. I am Leslie Joseph.
Glen Barrow's International Pest Control provides a comprehensive approach for a pest-free environment for both residential and commercial clients. Our services include lawn spraying and fungus control services to ensure the safety of your family and pets, commercial pest and rodent control, pre-construction soil treatment, subterranean termite control, and tent fumigation. Call Glen Barrow's International Pest Control at 465-2935 or 469-5294. Glen Barrow's International Pest Control, setting new standards in pest control.